Get in on the action and make your bet with Sports Interaction. The F1 schedule is heating up. Will you go with the reliable and Max Verstappen, or take your chance with a potential surprise? Download the app in Ontario. Use the QR code you see at the bottom of your screen somewhere, or head to sportsinteraction.com/SDPN to get started. 19 plus, please play responsibly. Welcome to Nailing the Apex, everyone. I'm Tim Haraney. Please head on over to Spotify, give us a 5-star rating and a follow. Same goes with Apple Podcasts as well. Rate reviews. It really helps us grow the show. You can follow me on social media at Tim Haraney. It's the Miami Grand Prix preview, and it is Friday morning. Just getting ready to go to the track. Thursday was great. I mean, super busy. Had some great interviews. F1 has done an incredible job of setting up this event here in Miami. It's pretty neat when you walk in somewhere and you're seeing Michelle Rodriguez and Vin Diesel just walking around. So that was pretty cool. Outside of that, we had some good interviews with Lance Stroll and Alex Albon, as well as Nico Hulkenberg and Kevin Magnussen, as well as a few others. And it's just some content we're putting together for TSN for our pre-race leading into the Canadian Grand Prix. But still, really good, insightful interviews. And yeah, I'm looking forward to sharing all of it with you when it becomes available. I would say the weather here is incredibly hot, and I'd be interested to see how that is going to affect the racing come Sunday. I heard there could be some rain coming our way for this weekend's event, so that could spice things up. Apparently, I was told it should hit around Saturday if it does rain. As for Sunday, just not sure at the moment. The one thing is that it's really hot and humid here, so I think for the racing in general, it's going to be pretty hard on the tires and the tire dag as well. Let's start with Sergio Perez. Do I think he can challenge Max Verstappen and beat him for a Drivers' World Championship? Well, I think he can if he stays consistent, and that's something we've said on this podcast many times, is Sergio Perez's consistency. And I think one of the things that I find very interesting is that in the offseason, he worked extremely hard during those winter months and spent a lot of time just really trying to understand how to get the best out of the Red Bull car, because this is really a car that's built more for Max. And I think for Sergio, just getting down and understanding the different types of driving styles that he may have to use to build that confidence to extract the performance from the car, he's put in a lot of work in the off season, and it's really showing. I mean, he's strong on street circuits, like we've seen so far this season. This is a street circuit here in Miami as well. So I think it's going to be fascinating to see how this shakes out this weekend. It's not easy being Max's teammate. I mean, he is always, delivering on the track, and he's eaten up and, spat out many teammates in the past. But, his confidence, I think, is just at a different level this season for Sergio. You can see it. You can see it when he's on the track. He's really playing around with the car a lot more and experimenting more so than he did last season. And to me, that's a sign of confidence, really. If we go back and you remember the tensions between, Verstappen and Perez after the Brazil Grand Prix, and, a lot of that going back to what happened during the Monaco Grand Prix qualifying in 2022 when Perez crashed. I think, today and now he feels that there is respect between the two of them. And he says that the team feels confident enough to let both of them race. And I think that's really important. And I think hearing Sergio say that is a direct result of, yes, Max knowing that Sergio is fast and knowing that he can push him. Whereas last season, and as we got towards the end of last season, I don't necessarily think that was there, simply because of how inconsistent Sergio was with with his pace. He's 6 points back of Verstappen in the championship. They both have 2 wins this season, and Sergio said the only way, quote, I have a chance of beating Max is by being perfect and being able to deliver when it matters. And you know what? That's key. I think that's incredibly crucial, that if you're going to go up against Max Verstappen, you're going to have to bring everything. Max is number 1 at that team, and he's an incredible driver, obviously, but you're really going to have to dig deep to really take down Verstappen in a season, that's for sure. I think Perez believes that he'll get as much support from the team as Max does, and having been doing so since the start of the season, he has been getting that support. I think it could be different. I think if there were other teams that were really challenging Red Bull in the season, I think that may change a bit if that were to happen. But yeah, off the top, it really does look like the team is backing both of them. To Red Bull's credit, they are letting both of them race. I mean, if we look at Baku and Saudi Arabia as examples, Azerbaijan, they were both skimming the walls, pushing each other on the lap time. So, yeah, I think what he's saying is true. As for Ferrari, they brought some upgrades for this weekend. Haven't been told exactly what they are just yet. Should find out more on Friday afternoon. But yeah, it's positive to hear that Ferrari is bringing upgrades to their car and trying to get that race pace sorted out. Because in all honesty, that's really where the problem lies at the moment. If we look at qualifying, the one-lap pace is there for Charles Leclerc, like we saw in Baku, and same with Carlos Sainz, who's been pretty good in the qualifying department so far this season, aside from Azerbaijan. But that being said, they've struggled mightily in the race. Shockingly, really, I didn't think they were going to be. I didn't think they were going to have this many difficulties in the race with tire degradation and obviously reliability issues for Charles Leclerc in race 1. But I think for Charles, I think he feels that, as this car starts to evolve and starts to develop, he is going to be able to be in the mix for some wins, because the one-lap pace is there. So that's your qualifying sort of taken care of. It's the full race distance that you got to worry about. As for George Russell and the Max Verstappen, feud, so we go back to Thursday, that continued with Russell saying that his spat with Verstappen post Baku sprint race was, quote, all a little pathetic. So I think this thing keeps rolling on here, but I feel, he's I think one of the things is for the drivers is I think they feel that, Max has given out those tough moves before, so he should be able to take them. And you know what? I agree. Verstappen does race pretty hard, and he has raced people very hard in the past. So, I mean, the thing with George is he's looking to win, right? And he's going to send it if he's got to send it. And if there's an opening there, he's going to take it. And, that's what every great racing driver does. I mean, it's how they operate. Russell did go on to say that he felt it was good racing, and it was the only thing that happened that weekend that was of any interest. Now, that's pretty interesting, because I agree with that. I think that the Baku sprint weekend, it was interesting up until the actual sprint race on the Saturday, and then things kind of got a little stale, a little boring, and the Grand Prix wasn't that exciting. And it's hard to say what that actually comes down to. Is it the tires, or is it that DRS range where they shortened it for Azerbaijan? Which brings us to a pretty good point with Red Bull's dominance. F1's starting to get not as exciting, and I think it is a bit to do with these regulations. They were brought forward to help with passing. Okay, so now we have this ground effect race car, and if we look at Baku, that could have been an outlier because of, like I had said, that the DRS range being shortened. The DRS zones have also been shortened for here in Miami as well for this weekend. I believe it's by about 75 meters if I'm correct. But Fernando Alonso made a good point on Thursday when speaking to us, mentioning that if Red Bull weren't so far ahead, then it would be an interesting fight. And I think he's right on that, because if you look at the top 4 teams, they're all within a tenth of a second. And if Red Bull didn't have this advantage, then maybe we would be saying that these new regulations and these rules were successful and that they actually have worked. And I tend to agree with him. If Red Bull doesn't have this advantage, then I really think we're singing a different tune to Formula One and how things look. I think the tires could also be playing a bit of an issue here as well. They do overheat quite easily if the drivers are following too closely. And last season there wasn't that much of an issue with following too closely. But if you go back to 2020, maybe 2021, sometimes that was an issue, following too closely and the tire just overheating. And the thing, if the tire gets too overheated, then it loses its performance. So I think that could be something that they will look at. Now, whether anything comes of it, we'll have to wait and see. It's hard to pass when these DRS trains are forming, and the cars are so stiff now that it's a struggle to work a different racing line. If you watch some of the cars, they're all tending to take the same sort of racing line into corners. No one's really experimenting too much with the racing line like we've seen in past formulas. So it's interesting. I mean, there's a lot of different things developing with this regulation, but I think if they just stick with it for a few more years and get a bit more convergence happening, then I think it could be pretty interesting. Last thing before I take off, the F1 movie for Apple Productions or Apple TV, Brad Pitt's untitled F1 movie. So obviously, Lewis Hamilton is assisting on the production side as a producer on the script, as well as trying to make sure that they are telling a story about racing in Formula One that is accurate to what Formula One racing is like and what it is about. Now, the premise I was able to find out is that Brad Pitt, comes out of retirement to race and train a rookie driver. And as soon as I heard that, I was like, oh boy, that smells like driven. But hopefully it's light years better. I mean, they have a really good crew working on this movie. They have a lot of talent on this movie as well. And so I think it's going to be really good. Now, filming will start at the British Grand Prix in Silverstone. So that's in July. And Brad Pitt will drive on track at the event when the circuit is empty between sessions and with no other cars on the racetrack, which is obviously a good thing because I'm sure Brad's got a lot to learn when it comes to the racing, the driving of the car. So I'm going to get to be there for that. I'm really excited to see how it all kind of plays out. He will be driving an adapted F2 car. Now, the Mercedes will crew the car, and they'll be using these little 6K cameras that will be placed all over the car. So, yeah, I think that'll be pretty cool. Pretty cool to see. I'm excited to see what kind of footage they get from these cameras, especially recording in 6K. That's pretty awesome. Thanks very much, everyone, for watching and listening. I know it was a shortened preview. It's been full gas since I got here. It's been a lot of fun. The atmosphere is incredible. I do encourage you next season, if you get a chance, Miami Grand Prix, definitely put that one on your calendar because it is a lot of fun down here. There's a lot of activation happening, and yeah, you never know who you're going to see, like for myself on Thursday. So yeah, pretty cool stuff. I'll keep you posted. Thanks very much, everyone, for listening to Nailing the Apex. Please give us a 5-star rating and a follow. Same goes with Apple Podcasts. Please write a review. Let us know how we're doing. And if you want more from me, you can follow me on social media at Tim Haraney, and we'll talk to you all at the end of the weekend.